Tonight on CTV News, the restoration of the town hall continues, a lucky escape for a truck driver on one of Christchurch's busiest roundabouts, and a celebration for some of the country's hardest working dogs. Kia ora, good evening. A major step in the restoration of the town hall today as workers from around the globe help to make the foundation of one of the city's biggest icons last well into the future.
More than 1,000 large concrete piles will be driven 8 metres into the ground to strengthen one of the city's most iconic buildings. 3 jet grout machines have been imported from Germany to carry out the work on the town hall foundation.
So it's actually a jet grout which basically has a rod which goes into the ground. As it comes back, it puts a low mobility grout in, and that forms columns. There's around about 1,000 columns that are going to form cells in the ground to form the ground for any future events and make the building back to the strength it needs to be.
The town hall was almost fatally damaged in the February 2011 earthquake, and debate has raged over whether it should be saved.
Well, today is actually a great day in the day for the Christchurch Town Hall and also the rebuild of Canterbury and Christchurch as well. Obviously, from the events of 2010-2011, there was a lot of damage to the town hall. The building itself is very robust, but the ground needs to be reformed.
A total of 27,000 cubic metres of jet grout concrete will be used during the process. This would fill 270 average family swimming pools, 37,500 bathtubs or 200 buses. And project manager Paul Youngman says there are a lot of hands on deck.
Because of this technology being relatively new to Christchurch and Canterbury or New Zealand, we've had to bring a lot of these people in. The equipment is from Germany, the people come from as far as Australia, France, England, and other parts, and they're flying in and flying out to visit their families as and when. So yeah, there's a lot of different nationalities and cultures helping to make this rebuild happen.
And he says it's a tricky and messy job.
It's unseen, unsung, and most people won't even know it's been done when it's finished. So it's a tribute to them that they're willing to get their boots dirty and work in the mud and do this vital part of the improvement of the town hall.
A total of $127.5 million has been budgeted for the town hall restoration, which will be completed in 2018. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Traffic was reduced to a snail's pace today as a truck toppled over at a Sockburn roundabout. The truck tipped on its side, blocking one lane of the Blenheim Road eastbound exit. Diversions were in place while the truck was uplifted by a crane. The driver wasn't injured in the accident and police are continuing to investigate. Well, it was a shock this morning for an antique shop owner as a car smashed into the front of her business. Chelsea Daniels has more.
An antiques dealer has been left to pick up the pieces in Christchurch after a car smashed through her shop front.
Basically broken stock, broken fixtures, so there's quite a few $1,000s worth of damage, which is a real shame because I have to replace it all, and trying to get it done just before Christmas is going to be really difficult.
And she says things could have been worse.
Yeah, the magazine stand the top half came crashing down, so someone would have been hurt, so it was very lucky it happened before it was closed.
Constable Brett Neal said a car was exiting a car park in Normans Road, Strowan, when it clipped another car at about 7:30 a.m. It put the car into a spin, resulting in it crashing through the shop front.
I am insured, yes, but unfortunately the person who actually caused the accident, which wasn't the car that came into the shop, we gather is uninsured, so it's going to cost me with my excess, all that sort of thing.
Shop owner Glenys Parker says it's a big job sifting through the debris, calculating how much damage has been done.
I haven't had a chance to entirely sort it all out yet. But one thing that I noticed, which was a ship in a bottle, you know, you can't replace those, and that's broken, and so can't do anything about that, unfortunately.
A St John's spokeswoman said no one was injured in the crash. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Progress at the site of the Canterbury Earthquake Memorial, with construction set to begin, ready for the 5th Remembrance Day in February. But the whole project won't be completed until 2017. The Prime Minister was in town today, turning the sod to mark the start of the Canterbury Earthquake Memorial.
When I first saw the design for the wall that's going to be erected here, I thought they'd done a tremendous job. I think it's a great way of being able to have people from not just Christchurch but actually around New Zealand and around the world stop, pause and reflect on the tragedy that took place as part of the Christchurch earthquakes.
The structure will be built along the Avon River between Cambridge and Oxford Terrace, honouring all 185 people who lost their lives in the February 2011 earthquake, and to remember and give thanks to the recovery organisations locally and internationally. Slovenian architect Gregor Versiak's design was chosen back in May, selected from 5 other shortlisted proposals. Up to $10 million has been put aside by the government to go towards the memorial, with an extra $1 million coming out of the Christchurch Earthquake Mural Relief Fund.
People who've been engaged in a conversation about how this side of the river could provide that quiet place of reflection and contemplation that will make the memorial on the other side of the river even more meaningful.
The reflective space on the North Bank's due to be completed by the 5th anniversary next year, with the memorial wall expected to be ready by February 2017. Well, still to come, your neighbourhood news update. Welcome back to CTV News. Today marks 2 decades since sniffer dogs were introduced to help protect our borders, with celebrations taking place at the Canterbury AMP show.
20 years of keeping New Zealand's borders safe was celebrated this morning at the AMP show. The gatekeepers of our airports were honoured in a special ceremony with government MPs Nathan Guy, Stephen Joyce and Joe Goodhue.
These little beagles are amazing. They can detect 40 to 45 different sensors and odours.
The program was introduced in the mid-90s, and New Zealand's dog team will have 60 dog and trainer teams by the end of this year. And that's a long way from their humble beginnings with just 2. The special guest of honour, Jet the Beagle, is 13 years old and well beyond retirement.
She came into the program when she was about 12 months old and worked till 8 and a half. Good innings.
Wendy Schwalger has been involved in dog training for biosecurity purposes for 17 and a half years now, and she says the industry is still growing.
We're going to have quite an increased number in Christchurch. When I started there were only 2, we're now up to 7.
Mr. Guy says with heightened security comes heightened costs, which he thinks can be solved through a passenger levy.
That will mean that as the passenger numbers continue to grow like this, that we will have the funding to be able to match and provide better services.
Amid celebrations, Ministers Guy, Joyce and Goodhue announced today their plans to improve the quality of New Zealand's natural resources.
We believe that we can actually do more in terms of mitigating our environmental footprint while still having economic growth.
Their ideas in the new chapter of the Business Growth Agenda focuses on lifting primary sector productivity while decreasing the country's environmental footprint.
The technology and the science is now either available or soon to be available, where we can both grow farm productivity and increase jobs in regional economies, while at the same time improving water quality and improving our environmental outcomes.
The government is investing $20 million for new erosion control works and $22 million in planting forests in a bid to improve water quality. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Now let's cross to Andrew King in the newsroom with what's happening in your neighbourhood.
Thanks, Jared. Pool users will still be able to cool off at Jelly Park this summer, but their options will be limited by ongoing repairs. There will be 4 stages of repairs, with the first starting on December 28 and continuing for about 3 months. The 25-metre sports pool, toddler's pool and indoor hydroslide will be out of action until March next year. Stage 2 repairs will be to the outdoor areas, including pool and hydroslide, from April to October. Work on the recreation pool, teaching pool and wet change rooms will be carried out between November next year and March 2017. The final stage of repairs will be to the fitness centre, group fit studio, dry change rooms, but a time frame is not yet confirmed. Repairs to one of the country's oldest surviving malt houses are nearing completion. The malt house in Beckenham has been undergoing earthquake repairs since October last year, but builders hope to be finished by the end of the month. It was built in 1867 to process barley for the City Brewery, which was on Colombo Street. The heritage building is home to the Canterbury Children's Theatre Group and Malt House Costumes. The theatre group has not been able to perform or rehearse in the building while the repairs are being carried out. It will celebrate reopening in January with a performance of Aladdin. Beckenham and Summerfield residents wanting to post letters at 2 local boxes might soon be out of luck. New Zealand Post intends on removing the post boxes on Birdwood Ave and Barrington Street on December 7 because of a lack of use. New Zealand Post Christchurch Operations Support Leader Ross Newton says boxes are monitored over a 4-week period. If on any given day over the 4 weeks the amount of letters exceeds 30, the box will not be removed. He said it's not cost effective to retain them if they do not meet this threshold. Public feedback will be considered before the boxes are removed. It will be a one-way trip for Aranui residents for the next few weeks while improvements to the wastewater system are made. Wainoni and Breezes Road will now be one-way for the next 3 weeks. The stronger Christchurch infrastructure rebuild team are installing new and more resilient vacuum wastewater systems. Wainoni Road is one way for traffic heading towards New Brighton between Breezes Road and Portsmouth Street, while Breezes Road is one way heading north between Gosport Street and Wainoni Road. Past and present members of the Mount Herbert Ladies Probers Club came together for a special celebration on Monday. The club had its 25th birthday celebration, which were filled with a morning of fun and reminiscing, followed by lunch and a fruitcake. The club's original secretary, Stella Christie, spoke about how it began in 1990. It was not an all-ladies affair, with some of the Mount Herbert Men's Probers Club members coming along to join in on the celebrations. From the newsroom, I'm Andrew King.
Thanks for that, Andrew. Now here's Warren Head with the region's business roundup.
Good evening, I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. I'd like to start with some good news. About 4 or 5 years ago, those of you who were paying rent were paying about $320 at that particular time. Now, what's happened since? It went sky high, didn't it? The occupancy levels went higher because there were fewer properties around, and the rental rate went to $434. The news today is that it's back down to $390, going in the other direction for the first time since the earthquakes. How do we know this? Well, there is a bond, of course, that is held, and it's held by the Crown, by MBIE, a government department. There are 37,000 of these in the Christchurch market. That's the bonds related to rentals and rental properties, that is. Now, these are down about 10% since their peak when they soared to those heights. And so they can record the numbers going the right way. Still a long way to go. What's going to be important about the future in terms of rentals is what happens in the Eastern Frame. We saw some details about this week. And I think that's going to be absolutely critical to this rental market slowing. And it's also going to be critical to the retail sector takeoff downtown, which we're about to see more of in coming days when we expect to see Cashel Square, or the new BNZ Square, frontages start to open on, I think, Hereford Street is the site it'll open first. And it's going to be quite important what happens in that Eastern Frame. So what's that particular space? On numbers too, you might start to hear some American accents again soon. There are about 237,000 Americans visiting us at the moment in the year to September anyway, and that's up about 11% on last year. They almost vanished, didn't they? It's hard to hear any American accent just about anywhere now in this particular city. So where are they? They're down in Central, and there's certainly going to be more of them landing in Auckland because this week American Airlines announced a return to the market. They shot off in 2012, and we thought it was the last we'd see of them. But they've decided to come back in with a daily service through to Los Angeles, and that will trickle down, or pour down, if you like, into the south. We need to catch some of that here, don't we? What has been caught this week is a bit of a problem for one or two supermarkets in town with this High Court ruling that could stop the sale of alcohol at the end of their supermarket aisles. There seems to be a long cast in this particular saga. What essentially happened was that South City and Bishopdale New World decided to put alcohol at the end of aisles, and you'll see that if you take a look at those particular stores. Now, under the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act, you're not allowed to do that. You've got to keep it in a single area. So they went off and to their licensing committee, and it was heard there that they had a case perhaps for this particular exemption. Well, that did not satisfy the Canterbury Medical Officer of Health, who then appealed it, and it's made its way all the way through to the High Court, which ruled this week that it is contrary to the law and that you cannot put alcohol at the end of the aisles. Now, I happen to shop at Bishopdale. I've got to say, I've hardly noticed them. In fact, I only look at price. If they stick something in front of me that's got a discount price and it's a good bottle of Merlot, I'll look at it then. It doesn't seem to trouble me that at the end of the aisles, but it certainly troubles the Medical Officer of Health.
Thanks for that, Warren. We're still to come here on CTV News Sport, plus your long weekend weather forecast. Welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon Finlater with the latest in local sport.
Well, Michael Pittman brought up a special milestone in style yesterday with long shot El Chico running the race of its life to grab the win at the Lindau Stewart Stakes Handicap at Riccarton yesterday. The win was number 1,000 this millennium for Pittman, who co-trains with son Matthew. Having now notched the milestone, Pittman's attention will turn to Saturday's Group 3 New Zealand Cup. The Oldhurst trainers galloper Southern Sav took out the Metropolitan Trophy last Saturday, raising his stakes ahead of the weekend's big race. Well, to greyhounds now, and part of Cup and Show Week is the New Zealand Cup at Addington. Tonight is the biggest race in the country, with $100,000 up for grabs in the big race. 64 of the top dogs from around the country have been cut down to just 8 to contest for New Zealand's biggest prize.
A few years back we decided to give a lot more dogs an opportunity to contest the final, so we run a series of heats followed by a semi-final the week later, which is on the Cup trials when the harnesses are on the Wednesday, and then final here. So for the North Islanders they have to make the trip a couple of times, or 3 times if they make the final, but for $100,000 we get a good turnout.
Tonight's Greyhounds Cup will be the third high-profile event at Addington over 4 days, in what is a busy week for all involved.
It's a big logistical exercise because the clean-up from the Tuesday is huge, and it's with the Thursday night we get to set up, and then of course straight after us they're cleaning up for the show day trot races. So it'd be nice to perhaps have our own venue and that, but with Addington the facilities are fantastic, obviously for the public and that, and I think we complement each other.
Christchurch trained Dinah Vickers is the overwhelming favourite to take out the Cup. However, as we all know too well, odds won't necessarily decide the winner.
Ruffy won the Melbourne Cup, so certainly if Dinah Vickers doesn't win it, you're in for a very good divvy. But perhaps a dog like Born to Boom, he's a very, very good dog, but Dinah Vickers has got the times on it, so. It's if Dinah Vickers does something wrong at the start, the race becomes very open.
Tonight's trophy up for grabs is unusual in the sense that it has no names on it. Different to the other New Zealand Cups up for grabs this week, this one's for keeps.
Our board has always decided to buy a nice flash new cup for the winner every year, and just keep an honours board for the previous year's winners. So no, it's theirs to keep, along with the best part of 60 grand prize money.
And with that sort of money going to the lucky winner, who knows how it could be spent.
A lot of dog biscuits for 60k.
And tonight's New Zealand Cup race gets underway just after 9 o'clock. Well, finally tonight, as mentioned before, it will be all on again at Addington tomorrow, with the anniversary day races highlighted by the New Zealand Free-for-All. The Purdens, Smolder and Sky Major will be favourites for the mobile race. Meanwhile, New Zealand Cup winner Arden Rooney will be hoping to continue his magical run in the country, drawing what has now become his lucky number 8.
3 number 8s in New Zealand, so yeah, let's hope that it's some sort of omen.
Well, you're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Findlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks so much for that, Gordon. Now it's time for your region's weather forecast. It's a bit of a mixed bag out there, Mercy.
Thanks, Jared. And yes, it was very unpredictable out there today. We had about 4 seasons in one day, as they say, with hail and heavy rain this morning, then some sunshine, and then that rain returned throughout the day. Today's highs for you, South Canterbury, 12 degrees for Waimate and Geraldine. Central Canterbury, similar temperatures here. 12 degrees was shared by Christchurch, Akaroa, Leeston and Dowfield, 13 for Ashburton and Methven. Heading further north, a chilly one here as well, with rain heavy for some. Kaikoura on 11 degrees. Sharing that high was also Culverden. 12 there for Cheviot, Amberley, Rangiora and Oxford, and just 9 for Hanna Springs. Over to the Alpine region, 13 for Arthur's Pass and 9 for Lake Tekapo. Now the good news is tomorrow some of us are on a public holiday and it's looking fine and sunny. Timaru, sunshine for you there with northeasterly winds, 15 degrees for your high. Ashburton, you can look forward to a settled dry day as well. 16 is your high there with northeasterlies freshening your afternoon, and 4 for that overnight low. The Garden City will be looking lovely tomorrow with that sun beaming down, 15 degree high there. Cloudy start though, but that'll be burning off during the day. Kaikoura, don't be put off by those southerlies. They'll be easing off during the day, maybe just a few showers early morning, but perhaps you might be able to sleep through those. Looking ahead for the rest of the Canterbury region, 16 degrees there for Temuka and Geraldine, sunny skies for you as well. Central Canterbury, lovely dry settled weather for Friday, a lot better than what we've been having. That weather's really coming out for that day off. 15 there for Akaroa, Leeston and Methven. Heading further north, you will also be experiencing a similar trend, a settled day with quite mild temperatures. Amberley, Culverden, Hanna Springs and Oxford on 17, Cheviot 16 for you. Over to the Alpine region now, 17 for Lake Tekapo and lots of sunshine in the passes tomorrow. Looking ahead though for Saturday, we're seeing 17 degrees there for Timaru, 18 for Kaikoura and 20 for Ashburton and Christchurch. Going to be a lovely hot settled day again. Wonderful. On Sunday it packs in a little bit. We are seeing a little bit of rain in the morning and a few southerly winds as well. So you might need to bring out your brollies for Sunday morning, but you can put them away for Friday and Saturday. On Saturday, as I said before, lovely fun and settle for most places. Few inland places could be seeing a few showers first up, but mostly dry as the day goes on. Looking to Sunday now, rain could be a bit of a soggy start on Sunday with those cold southerly winds. Hopefully a few fine spells and breaks in the afternoon and evening. So over the next few days, some of you might be on holiday right now as you watch this weather report. Have a fantastic time off. If you don't get a public holiday tomorrow, I hope you have a fantastic weekend regardless, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Back to you, Jared.
Thanks so much for that, Mercy. And that is CTV News for Thursday. You can find all our stories and bulletins on demand at ctv.co.nz. As Mercy said, join us for CTV News tomorrow for a weekend review. But until then, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. Have a safe, long weekend.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.